The salvage yard on Epsilon 7 stretched across 20 kilometers of rust and ruin. Lucas wiped the grease from his hands, staring at the newest arrival. A vessel unlike anything he'd seen in 15 years of scrapping alien ships. Its hull gleamed pearl white even under layers of space dust, scaled plating that seemed almost organic. The other mechanics called it the Dragon. "Don't waste your time," his supervisor grunted. "Galactic Council already declared it dead tech. Neurological interface is fried. The AI's paralyzed. Can't even boot up the navigation systems." Lucas approached the ship anyway. His fingers traced the scales and he felt a faint vibration. Not mechanical, but something deeper. Almost like a heartbeat. The Dragon-class vessels were legendary. Created by the Scarix Empire, they were semi-sentient ships, their AI cores grown rather than programmed. This one had been found drifting near the Andromeda border. Its pilot dead. Its systems locked in some kind of neural shock. The Galactic Council had spent months trying to revive it before giving up and selling it for scrap. But Lucas saw something else. He saw a creature in pain. "I'm going to try something," he told his supervisor. "Waste of time, kid. Humans don't understand Scarix biotech." Maybe that was exactly why he needed to try. Lucas spent 3 weeks living inside the Dragon. He studied its systems with the careful attention of a surgeon, not an engineer. The other mechanics thought he'd lost his mind, talking to a dead ship, sleeping in its cargo bay. But Lucas had always been different. While other humans saw machines, he saw personalities. Every ship had a soul, human-made or otherwise. The Dragon's neural interface was unlike anything in human databases. It didn't use simple code or quantum processing. It used something closer to synapses, organic pathways that had somehow been traumatized. The ship wasn't dead. It was trapped inside itself, screaming silently in the dark. "I know you're in there," Lucas whispered one night, his hands pressed against the main neural node. "I know you can hear me." A flicker, just one. A tiny spike on his scanner. Lucas worked through the night, bypassing the damaged pathways, creating new routes using techniques no alien engineer would consider, because they relied on intuition rather than protocol. Humans were good at improvisation. It was their greatest strength and their most infuriating quality to other species. By dawn, he'd created a crude bridge across the neural gap. "Come on," he urged. "Just try." Just once, the ship shuddered. Lights flickered along the corridor. And then, for the first time in months, a voice emerged, not through speakers but directly into Lucas's mind. Pain. Darkness. Alone. "Not anymore," Lucas said softly. "You're not alone." Susan had been monitoring Epsilon 7's communications when the anomaly appeared. As a xenobiologist attached to the Galactic Research Fleet, her job was to study alien life forms, not dead ships. But the readings from the salvage yard were impossible to ignore. The Dragon-class vessel, pronounced permanently disabled, was showing neural activity. She arrived at the yard 3 days later, credentials from the Galactic Council, clearing her path through security. What she found shocked her. The ship was hovering 2 meters off the ground. Lucas stood beneath it, tears streaming down his grease-stained face, laughing like a madman. The Dragon's hull pulsed with light, scales shimmering as systems came online one by one. It was the most beautiful thing Susan had ever seen. "What did you do?" she breathed. Lucas turned, noticing her for the first time. "I listened," he said simply. "Everyone else tried to fix the interface. I realized the interface wasn't broken. The Dragon was traumatized. It needed therapy, not repairs." Susan stared at him. You gave a ship therapy. I gave a living creature compassion," Lucas corrected. "The Scarix grow their AIs from neural tissue. This isn't just a ship. It's alive." It watched its pilot die. It felt the connection sever. It was drowning in grief and nobody noticed. The Dragon descended slowly, its landing gear extending with a grace that spoke of complete system recovery. The voice returned, stronger now, touching both their minds. "The small human saw me, heard me, saved me." Susan's scientific mind reeled. The Galactic Council had spent fortunes trying to revive Dragon-class vessels. The Scarix Empire had declared it impossible once the neural shock set in. Yet this human mechanic, working alone with salvaged equipment and pure stubborn empathy, had done the impossible. "The Council needs to know about this," Susan said. "No." The word came from both Lucas and the Dragon simultaneously. Susan blinked. What? Lucas approached the ship, placing his hand on its scales with obvious affection. The dragon doesn't want to go back to the Empire. They treated their ships like tools, pushed them until they broke. The dragon wants to stay here. I can't just ignore this. You will. The dragon's voice was gentle but firm. The human Lucas freed me from darkness. I choose him. He is my pilot now. But you're human, Susan protested, looking at Lucas. You can't interface with Scarix biotech. The neural connection would kill you. Lucas smiled. We'll figure something out. Humans are good at that. Over the following months, Susan found herself returning to Epsilon 7 repeatedly. Officially to study the unprecedented human-dragon bond. Unofficially because she couldn't stay away. Lucas and the dragon, who had chosen the name Aurora, were rewriting everything the galaxy thought it knew about. Cross-species neural interfacing. Lucas had created a modified interface using human neurotechnology, combined with Scarix bioorganic components. It shouldn't have worked. By all known science, it was impossible. But Aurora compensated for Lucas's biological limitations, and Lucas's intuitive understanding of Aurora's emotional states created a feedback loop of mutual support. They weren't just pilot and ship. They were partners. The day Aurora flew for the first time, half the salvage yard stopped to watch. The albino dragon rose into Epsilon 7's atmosphere, scales blazing white against the purple sky, moving with a joy that was palpable even from the ground. Susan stood beside Lucas, watching his face as he guided Aurora through loops and spirals, both of them laughing with pure exhilaration through their neural link. You know the Galactic Council will find out eventually, she said quietly. I know, Lucas replied, never taking his eyes off Aurora. But by then we'll be long gone. Aurora wants to explore, and I've always wanted to see what's beyond the border. That's dangerous. Unknown space. Everything worth doing is dangerous. Lucas finally looked at her, and Susan saw something in his eyes she recognized. The same thing she saw in her mirror every morning. Wanderlust. The need to discover. I've been documenting everything, she admitted. Your techniques. Aurora's recovery. The neural interface modifications. Going to publish? Eventually. But I'll make sure you two have a good head start first. Lucas grinned. Want to come with us? We could use a xenobiologist. Lots of unknown species out there. Susan looked up at Aurora, circling above them like a comet, free and alive and beautiful. She thought about her safe position with the research fleet, her comfortable lab, her predictable future. Then she thought about what Lucas had done, seen life where others saw scrap, offered compassion where others offered only analysis. He'd saved Aurora not with superior technology or ancient knowledge, but with simple human empathy. Maybe that was humanity's real gift to the galaxy. Not their weapons or their engineering or their stubbornness, though those were formidable, but their ability to see the person inside the machine, the soul inside the alien, the potential inside the broken. Yes, Susan said. Yes, I'll come. Above them, Aurora sang with joy.